Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're rolling up our sleeves and diving into the actual mechanics of personal finance. We're going to figure out exactly how to transform your everyday spending habits into long-term financial health. Because look, whether you're cashing your very first paycheck or just trying to make your current cash stretch a little further, the micro decisions you make today, they're going to ripple out for years to come.
So start by asking yourself a pretty simple question. Where does all your money actually go? Seriously, think about your own wallet right now. It is incredibly easy to just tap a card and spend cash to satisfy literally every single want that pops into our heads. But while our wants are pretty much endless, our money supply definitely isn't.
To get a handle on this, we've got a solid roadmap for This Explainer. We'll be walking through how to manage your income, the absolute power of a budget, growing your money, decoding the credit system, and finally, the true cost of debt.
All right, let's jump right into step one, managing your income. This is all about the flow of money, what you earn and what you spend.
Now, you might be thinking, hey, I'm just a student, I'm not really a part of the real economy yet. But actually, whether you're getting an allowance, receiving a cash gift, or working a summer job, you are actively participating in and shaping your local economy. Even trading a service, like say, fixing a friend's bike in exchange for them mowing your lawn, that's a voluntary exchange. Your individual choices absolutely matter.
So money comes in and, well, it inevitably goes right back out. Basically, your expenses fall into two main buckets. You've got fixed expenses, which cost the exact same amount every single month. Think rent or a car loan. Then you have variable expenses, which fluctuate, like your grocery bill or going out with friends. And because of that constant fluctuation, keeping track of both is absolutely crucial.
Which brings us to our next phase, the power of a budget. Tracking those expenses is exactly how you build your ultimate financial tool.
A budget is really just a game plan for how your money is going to be used. And there is one golden, unbreakable rule here. Your expenses should never exceed your income. When you're setting up your plan, you've got to cover your basic, necessary needs first. Only if there's money left over can it be used for the fun stuff, your wants. Because if you ignore that golden rule, you run smack into a pretty intimidating financial reality, the overdraft. Also known as bouncing a check, this happens when you try to buy something without enough money in your bank account to actually back it up. You are literally spending money you do not have.
Let's put that into perspective with some real-world math. If you overdraft, you get hit with penalty fees, usually one from your bank and another from the company you tried to pay. If each fee is, say, $25, you suddenly owe $50. If you're making $10 an hour at your job, you just wiped out 5 full hours of hard work just to pay for a simple math mistake. Crazy, right?
But hey, a good budget does way more than just protect you from painful fees. It actually empowers you to do some good through philanthropy. Budgeting properly means you can intentionally set aside money to help others. Giving back helps your community, it can provide an income tax deduction, and studies even show it noticeably reduces your own personal stress levels, which is the exact opposite of an overdraft fee.
Okay, moving on to the really fun part. Section 3, growing your money through investments. This is where we shift gears from just managing cash to making your money actually multiply.
When you invest, you're putting your money to work with the goal of making a profit. Think of it like a ladder of risk. Down at the safest end, you have standard savings accounts and certificates of deposits, or CDs. They offer a lower interest rate, but they totally guard against losing your initial cash. Climbing up, you've got bonds, then mutual funds which pool money together to spread out the risk. And finally, right at the very top, you have individual stocks. The highest risk of losing your money, but for sure the highest potential reward.
Let's look at a concrete example of playing it safe. Say you take $10,000 and purchase an FDIC-insured CD, leaving it in the bank for 1 full year at a 3% interest rate. At the end of that year, your money has safely grown to $10,300. Your money is literally working for you while you're asleep.
Now, investments generally split into two main camps. You have financial investments, putting your money into tools like the stock market or bonds, and then you have real investments, buying physical, tangible things like real estate or heavy equipment for a business. Both of these are fantastic because they keep our broader economy healthy by allowing businesses to expand and grow.
All right, let's pivot to our fourth pillar, understanding the credit system. Basically an arrangement that lets you borrow for the future by taking an item now and paying for it later.
To participate in the credit system, whether you want a mortgage for a house or just a basic credit card, you absolutely have to understand one vital metric, your credit score. Based entirely on whether you pay your bills on time, you are graded on your capacity to repay a loan. Financial institutions check this score to decide if you even deserve a loan and how much interest to charge you. Even employers and insurance companies look at it to see how responsible you are.
Get this. Look at the cost of a standard 30-year mortgage on a median home in Georgia priced around $152,000. A person with a high credit score secures a 3.5% interest rate, but someone with a low score gets a 4.5% rate. Over 30 years, that single percentage point difference means the person with the low score pays over $31,000 more for the exact same house. That is a massive difference.
Which leads us right into our fifth and final section, the true, often hidden cost of debt, especially when making major life purchases.
Imagine you borrow $30,000 for a sweet new car at a 10% interest rate for 5 years. After 5 years of making your monthly payments, you will have paid the lender a total of $38,245. So that $8,245, that is paid purely in interest for the privilege of using credit because you didn't have the cash up front.
And this brings us to a huge caution flag: credit cards. They make everyday purchases incredibly convenient, but man, they can be a trap. If you don't pay off your full balance at the end of the month, you get charged steep interest on whatever is left over. If you fall for just making the tiny minimum payment each month, your total debt is going to skyrocket, even if you never swipe that card again. It is a very fast lane to financial ruin.
So we've explored how tracking expenses builds a rock-solid budget, how to make your money actually work for you, and the extreme costs that come with poor credit and debt. Every single small financial decision you make right now is actively writing your future financial history. So I'm going to leave you with this. How will you take control of your micro decisions today to begin preparing for a truly debt-free, financially independent life?